All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. It is February 3rd, and I am Christy McGuyan. I'm here from San Diego, California. I don't know how many more times I'll be doing a Zoom from San Diego. Eventually it will be Wyoming, or at least not here. Maybe I'll be in my boy's apartment when I come back eventually. But we have so much stuff to talk about tonight. And for those of you guys, I believe every single one of you is so consistent and plugs into things. So you also have been on the Saturday Zooms as well. And on the Saturday Zooms, Craig and I, or sometimes it's just Craig, have been unpacking the Momentum Maker slides that we shared at the end of last year, which we're in the second month already, 2026. Feels like we just did the Momentum Maker Zoom. And so we're taking each of those 10 action slides and unpacking them on Saturdays. And then I'm pulling some of that stuff as it's appropriate into Tuesday nights as well too. And so tonight I want to talk a little bit more about daily decisions, daily action, and daily habits, really is the word, daily habits and daily rhythms. And what does it look like to be leaders of vision and empowerment that have daily habits and daily rhythms that we move in? And it's so incredibly important. You know, we want big vision, leaders of vision and empowerment, but big vision without any action um, is really just a dream. I want you to think about that. Big vision without any action is really just a dream. And when we don't get into action, even that dream is hard to hold on to. And eventually, it really becomes typically like just an American dream where we think, oh, well, gosh, doesn't everybody want this? So I guess and nobody else gets it. So I guess I'm not going to either. So action is critical when we're building a business that we're in business, for ourselves, but not by ourselves, right? You have a team of support. You have the corporate team and all the corporate side of things, and then you have your leadership team that you're a part of. And the reality is, we can do so much. We can do so much for you, but we can't get to your people. Like, we can't do that. And so that's your job and your responsibility. And the people that you love and the people that you desire to see impacted, that should be the daily habits and the daily rhythms should be conversations with those people and meeting new people as well too, as well as delivering on the hope you promised for the people that got started. And I want to remind us as we dive into this, what it looks like from a big vision perspective. In Alavea, we have a goal of nourishing 7 million children that would otherwise die a year. And we unfortunately are a long way off from that, but daily decisions make a huge difference. And it's all of our daily decisions, every single one of you, whatever rhythm you decide to pick up, whatever habit that is, when you apply it to your business, it makes a difference. It makes a difference for you and the goals that you have in your family. It makes a huge difference for the people that you have influence over and that very well maybe praying for a solution that they're waiting for you to bring to them, and they just don't know that you're the solution. They don't know. Um, but it's critically important that sometimes in between that vision and the action, that along the way we lose sight of the people that will be impacted by our decision to get into action. And of course, we know that actually every single person we help then also helps uh, create servings of nutrition for children around the world. So what is a daily rhythm? What's a daily habit? What does that look like? And I'm going to talk about it in ways that, guys, what should start happening is, because we've simplified things so much in Alavea, is you should start being able to know exactly what I'm going to say next. or exactly what your leader is going to say next. Because guess what? When it becomes that simple and that duplicatable, you're going to be confident that anybody can have success here, because they don't have to understand all the science, and they don't have to figure out the pay plan, and they don't have to, we're keeping it super, super simple with not only the targeted health stacks, but team builders. Now, let me pause and paint some vision for you guys. You guys did, and we have done such an incredible job of grabbing hold of the targeted health stack. I want you guys to realize, if you didn't hear this or you didn't catch it, maybe you were on the focus Zoom and it just kind of slid by, or maybe you weren't on. Alivea grew 30% year over year last year versus 2024. 30%, guys. That is not common in the world of business. That is significant growth. And not only that, we didn't stop on December 31st, 2025. You guys have been continuing to crush it and create exponential growth this year as well too. So what does that mean? Some of you may have seen the email, some of you may have not. So it's important that you hear this. Because of what you guys have done, we have a growth pain that's going to last just for a few days, maybe a week. It's not a big deal, but I want you to be prepared to catch the vision of it and know how to move in conversations, as you talk to people this week, as you follow up and get into some daily habits that I'm going to talk to you about, as you get into action. So OptiPack, you guys sold it out. And of course, there was like this convergence of things that we sold it out. It should have been here in time, or not, definitely only a couple days late, if that. And then we had snow and all over the country, not just in Texas. And you guys know what happened. You know what happened. And you know that it hasn't just impacted Alivea, it has impacted a lot of other people as well too. So OptiPack is delayed. So what does that mean? It also means so are the targeted health stacks. But here's the great news. One, that's huge vision. And I'm going to talk to you about how to carry that vision into conversations, again, with these 3 simple actions that you can take over the next 3 weeks. But I'm going to talk to you about how, until it's back in stock in next week, how to use that in your conversations to paint vision. Right? To paint vision. The perspective on it is we have surpassed, just like you guys sold out of the Thanksgiving stick packs. You guys sold out of the skincare. You sold out, like you guys are, it's exciting what is happening in this company. And that is the message we want people to know as you're having conversations with 3 deadlines that are coming up. Here's the awesome thing about deadlines is they help people make decisions that they otherwise would delay on. And that's where each of you, as a leader of vision and empowerment, where you guys have the ability to, one, you've got to pick up the phone. You've got to reach out to people. You've got to look at your reports. You have to know who is it that is already a loyal customer, or is a social business partner that's building their team, or maybe someone that we're going to talk about here in a little bit that got to social business partner and isn't currently engaged. But then it's also how to use it to have conversations and paint vision for people maybe that you've already started to move through your tracker, right? This, guys, is important. If you haven't printed this off already, print 3 off and use these. I don't know about you guys, but I find that if I don't have a list, my day is significantly less productive. Sometimes I can get away with it for a couple days, but it's usually like 5 days into that pattern where all of a sudden I start to go, oh my goodness, what's my problem? Like I actually start to feel a little bit like I feel like I'm dropping the ball, or I should be doing something that I'm not doing. And and all of a sudden I realize, oh, you haven't made a list. So you're not getting anything accomplished because you don't even know what you need to do. And if you were on Saturday, I talked about how to make an effective list. And that is to make it the night before you go to bed. Otherwise, you get halfway through your day and you don't even have a list yet. So make it the night before you go to bed. And then prioritize them, those things, number them 1 through 10 usually is the tops of things probably that you're going to get done if you have on a list, if you're having a very productive day. But number those things in order of priority based on like the bang for your investment of time, talent, and resources, right? And so what we tend to do as humans is even if we do make a list, we tend to start with the low-hanging fruit. That's what Michelle had said in the text on Saturday. We start with the simple things. We start with the things that, I guess, especially if you have something on your list that you're like a little bit like, oh, I'm nervous to do this, or I don't know how they're going to respond, or whatever it is, whatever excuse you have in your head, or whatever reason it seems bigger than it actually is, right? We tend to start with the easier things because we don't want to tackle that one thing. But what we should do is we should wake up every day doing the number one thing on our list, the thing that actually will be the most advantageous to our business. We should do that thing first so that if everything in your world got turned upside down and all of a sudden everything got away from you and there was other things that became important in the day, you at least got the most important thing done instead of thing number 10 or 9, right? And so I can promise you, if you start doing this, it will absolutely change your effectiveness in your day. And for those of you that are still working full time, I mean, there's reasons for both, right? If you're working full time, you have to be wise in how you spend your time. And if you're not working full time, you have to be wise at how you spend your time. And, you know, works expands to all time available. You know, like all of a sudden, it takes you a lot longer to do something than if you really had much less time to do it. So that's critical in creating those daily habits and rhythms, is making sure that we do the right things and spend the right time. So here's what I would say is not a number one on your list. It's not watching a replay to a Zoom. Now that's great, and it's important to be plugged in because you need to be in communication. Like if this was a job that you were showing up to where you were actually employed by someone, you'd actually have to stay plugged in and get on the communications, right? And I'm preaching to the choir because you guys are on here, but you want it to be income producing activity or activity that is advancing your business. And so it's important to start there first, to start there first. But this tracker, you guys, is how you not only keep moving people that you've been working with or that you have sampled already or that you have shared a stick in a story with in front of you so you don't forget to follow up with them. Or is that just me? Because I do that sometimes. But the other thing is, this is where you pull out your phone and you go through all the names in your phone and you start thinking, okay, this person, I haven't even talked to this person. And a lot of times we start looking at those lists of names and we realize, and by the way, I just remembered that when they get excited, their brother owns a gym. You just don't know the connections that come out of those conversations. And that those connections are something we're going to talk a lot more about later. So a little bit of tease, but that's coming. What those connections can actually mean and how we can effectively use them to help more people. But here's what I want you to focus on with this list. So if you've already been working one of these guys, then you already have things in the pipeline. You have things that you can move with the 3 deadlines that are 1 for each pay week right now. Okay, so isn't that cool? We literally have a deadline this Friday, next Friday, and then actually the following Saturday. So 3 deadlines. And so I want to make sure you know how to have those conversations and that you get into action. What you can do with these 3 things can absolutely change your business super significantly, not only right now, but over the next 3 months as we lead into impact. And so write these dates down. February 6th, somebody can even put them in the chat, February 13th, and February 14th. So technically, I guess it's 2 pay weeks, but February 6th, February 13th, and February 14th. So what's the first one? The first one, February 6th, is the deadline for people to reset as team builder. The significant way in which your business could grow just from taking advantage of that. Now that's different for everybody, right? I mean, if you're newer in the business, you don't have a whole bunch of people that got to a social business partner and didn't in their first 28 days to get to team builder. But maybe you have one or two. Those are important conversations. They're very important conversations because when we look at that reset, let me give you an example of how that conversation can look. It could be, hey, you guys know I love saying, hey, I'm calling for a very specific reason, but let's get caught up first. Don't forget that, guys. That's so important. I'm calling for a very specific reason, but let's get caught up first. And when you're, and because if you don't say that at the beginning, when you bring up Alevea later, you're you seem disingenuous. It's really easy, even though you're not, even though you're calling because love's in the center of everything you do, it can make the person feel like, oh, that's why you called, right? But if you say it up front, then it's not weird when you bring it up and you're able to catch up first. And in catching up, you're also going to know how to position your message to meet their needs. In catching up, they may tell you that they're exhausted. They may tell you things aren't going great. They may tell you I haven't been sleeping well, or I'm concerned about our finances right now. And don't jump on any one thing in the beginning. Please don't do that. Just ask more questions. Become a professional question asker. You're a question asker and a problem solver. That's what we do. We ask questions to help solve people's problems. But if we try and solve people's problems without asking questions first, usually we're actually creating more problems and potentially more questions from them that actually aren't helpful to move them in the direction of their goals. So asking more questions, and even questions, guys, because this is a huge one. Sometimes we respond to something they asked us based on a filter that they weren't asking us. So like, let me give you an example. They might say, if you're talking to them about focus or revive or something like that, they might say, is there caffeine in it? And you might be super sensitive to be like, oh my gosh, they don't like caffeine, or they're going to be concerned, or blah, 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 blah. Like, so we might respond from a filter of fear, or a filter of like, I better like say everything that I can right now. And then we give them way too much information that's super overwhelming, when the reality is they were like, I really hope so because I'm exhausted. So if someone says, is there caffeine, or is there anything, or is this is this a direct sales company? Is this whatever the question is, especially technically, or typically, I should say, the questions you get the most, are usually the things you're most fearful of. I'm just saying. If you say, everybody says it's too expensive, or like ask about the price, it's probably because it's a fear that you have, and it's a thing that's not settled in your heart about value and investment, right? And so we want to filter those things so that we can be leaders of vision and empowerment. And sometimes it means we need more vision, and we need to be empowered to respond correctly when questions come, and not get flustered or concerned or worried, but respond with confidence. So usually, and I would say the best example of someone that handled objections, in my personal opinion, is Jesus. And how did he do that? He asked usually another question. Like a lot of times before he gave the answer, he asked another question. And so I want to encourage you to do the same thing. So, hey, like if they say, "Oh, is there caffeine in this?" Why do you ask? It's a great next question because then you're answering their specific question instead of what you think their question is, which again, sometimes we answer what we think their question is, and now they have more concerns than they did 5 seconds ago. So I just want to encourage you with that. And so when we get on the phone, right, we're catching up, we're finding out things, we're building the relationship, we're showing that love is in the center of everything that we do. And then we get to bring information, the message, right? We get to tie it to it. And so one of the ways that you can share the reset right now is if you're, this is obviously only relevant to people that got to social business partner, but did not get to team builder in the first 28 days. And so I would say, hey, I'm calling, when we get to that point, the reason why I called is, at one point, and you might know exactly when they signed up, you can look at your reports for sure, but you can just say at one point you saw something in Alivea. At one point you saw this as a business opportunity. They wouldn't have been a social business partner otherwise. Or you saw this as an opportunity to share and help other people or be a part of the movement. If you sponsored them, you probably know why they originally said yes. Or you might even say, remind me of what you saw in Alavea, because then they're reminding themselves. Remind me of what you saw in Alavea when you first became a social business partner. And they may be in the system and have zero orders over the last month. It's okay. Call them because the reality is they're a no right now. And so if you call them and they say, no, not interested, they're just the same place they currently are. But what if you call them and things have changed? And right now is the best time for them to re-engage because they can reset their team builder clock and get paid 3 ways that currently, if they even made the decision 2 years from now, they can't. And so now is the time to reach out and not shrink back and have every conversation. Don't assume that you know their response. Don't have a conversation before you get on the phone with them in your head with them. Don't prejudge. Don't fill in the blanks. Give them the opportunity to make the decision for themselves. Remembering that, again, those 3 ways, not only the team builder bonuses that are now $3,800 were when they got started, they probably were only $1,800 potentially, but also the 2 other ways that grow exponentially more than $3,800 as they continue to grow their business. So have those conversations. And in that conversation, right, you can ask them, what if this is the year? You've got to know that we grew 30% last year, and I don't want you to miss what you saw once before. And it's getting really fun right now. And things have been simplified in a way that we can help you get into action right now and help people get results. And so having that conversation, right? And and then once they place their reset order, now just know you heard me say in the beginning that the OptiPack is out of stock, back ordered really right now, and so is the Targeted Health Stack. But you can still order. I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful it just doesn't say out of stock and you can't order. Like you can still place those orders. They'll just be delayed in shipping out, but that's critically important as we finish these next few days. And don't wait till Friday to call. Call tomorrow and Thursday because maybe they need a day. Maybe they need a second. Maybe they have no clue, more than likely, they have no clue that this is an opportunity right now, and you've got to be the one to deliver the message. And I know we spent a lot of time on that, but I want to make sure we get through the other two. Once they've placed their order for their reset, you can say, and while we're at it, let's also get you to impact. And guys, we are and I'm jumping over the Valentine promo for a second because someone just made a decision to get to Team Builder. That means they're interested in the business. And Impact is where, now that we got you there, now we've got to get you to Dallas so that you can learn even more, get bigger vision, and get taught how we get paid and get equipped to build a team. And in fact, since it's still 3 months away between now and then, let's work on getting a team coming with you, but you're going to want to get your early bird ticket now. I love that it actually ends on Valentine's Day, that it ends February 14th, the early bird special, because it's a perfect decision for someone to make, to love themselves, to love their future, to love and nourish kids around the world, and to love being with all of us and in community at Impact. So don't forget that deadline, February 14th. Ticket price $169, but you get 112 bottle of Immune, a large bottle of Immune. So that, guys, with lunch on Saturday or dinner on Friday and lunch on Saturday, the ticket 100% is just an investment that you're getting all of that back. You're getting the 112 count bottle of Immune, and you're getting dinner Friday night. And we've heard the food is really good at this new hotel, and lunch on Saturday. So it absolutely covers that investment in the ticket. And so those two things, the reset and decisions for attendance at Impact, those are two decisions that could radically, like, we're going out looking for new social business partners and sharing Team Builder and doing that all the time, right? And we want to keep doing that. But you have people that said yes before, get them to Team Builder and get them to Impact. And then make sure that that early bird is in conversations with even every customer, every new person you're getting signed up. Again, we've talked about this, but you're planting seeds so you can reap a harvest. We want to reap as big of a harvest as we can on February 14th, because again, a deadline helps people make a decision they would otherwise delay, or a decision they have been delaying. So if you do the work, it will work. If you work the promos, if you work the deadlines, then it will actually work to grow your business and your team, and you're modeling how to build a business at the same time with people that will join you in that. Guys, can you imagine if you could, maybe you've never gone with Team to Impact, that was your personally enrolled team. This is the year you're going to do it, right? You're going to bring people with you. And if you've already brought people with you, you're going to help people on your team bring people as well too. And make sure you've set a goal, because when you have a goal, here's how many people I want to get with me to Impact. You can focus on that list of people that you're reaching out to that aren't already committed to Impact. And then that conversation becomes part of every person you're talking to. What we focus on tends to improve. What we focus on tends to grow. And so if we're focused on Impact, then guess what? Your attendance of your team at Impact is going to grow, and your business will explode out of it as a result of getting people there. So that's super important, that deadline. And then in between, February 13th, our Valentine's promos. Not in between, I guess this is the day before the early bird deadline. And that's something that impacts your business right now, but is another excuse to have those other conversations. So maybe your initial, maybe they're not someone that needs to reset, so you're not talking to them about that. And so that's not why you're calling them, but you're calling to let them know about the Valentine's specials, which allows you then to also plant the seed and have the conversation about Impact. Hey, you've been loving these products. You're getting incredible results. Please save the dates, because I know you're going to want to be there, but I just want to encourage you. Let's make that decision over the next week and a half and get you there. And I even said this to the leaders earlier today. I said, you know what? The cool thing is we've got an awesome opportunity for you to get a free bottle of Limitless, of a large bottle of Limitless, you just got to come with us and pick it up in Dallas. What a fun way to help them know that you want them to be there, to start painting the vision of the community. And if you know their love language, the language of their heart, you're going to know, is it the information at impact, the inspiration at impact, the community at impact? Make sure before you have a conversation with someone about impact that you stop and you slow down enough to think about their personality style and what's going to drive them the most. If you're talking to somebody that's all about community and inspiration and you say, oh my gosh, there's going to be so much information, and you just overwhelm them with information, they might not want to come, right? So let's paint a vision of what it looks like and how we all grow in community together. And as a result, growing in community, we absolutely change the world. I know, thank you, Nancy. She said you mean immune. Did I say limitless? I don't know what I said, but I'm talking faster than my brain can keep up. Um, but so those are our three. Again, these are daily habits because you literally have 10 days. Right now you have 3 days for reset. And then you have 10 days till the Valentine promo is over, and you have 11 days until the early bird special is over. So figure out how many people you need to get in contact with, and then divide that by number of days that you still have to have a conversation. And then that's how many people you need to reach out to a day as you continue to do a stick in a story to plant new seeds to reap a harvest. And so guys, it's going to be a powerful rest of the year, but you've got to look at that word action and see the I in the middle of it, and see smack dab in the middle of action is the letter I. That's you. And it's act I on. You've got to be the one to act on it. You've got to be the one in motion. And, and then we're going to do the things from the corporate perspective of things to help advance things for you, to support, to give promotions and deadlines to help you move things forward. And then you've got an incredible group of leaders, and you guys are leaders as well, that will continue to help you build your business. And so let's be intentional. Guys, let's be intentional and see things change and let me plant one other little seed because we're going to be talking about it next, is we have a very, very fun, we are putting together an awesome in-home event that you can run with. You will all be so confident and excited to do it by the time it's all said and done. Picture this: a full slide deck, a full pre-event, during event and post-event checklist, even notes that you can be confident in delivering the message as you walk through the slide presentation, the fun Mix Alivea mocktails to start the evening with, and then of course our incredible skincare. As we talk about, what I'm sharing is our inside out events. And so they're coming really soon. So I want to leave you with that. It'll be really, really exciting. And we're going to train you on that whole thing before you get started. But that's where the 2 Valentine's promos could be really a great idea to invest in your business. Now, be wise. You know what your budget is, but you do get to write these things off. You may want to pick up additional Valentine's promos because, for example, you're going to be, making mocktails. Maybe you want the chocolate shake or the hot cocoa for that. But maybe you're going to use some additional love mugs as giveaways for your event. Maybe, and you're definitely going to want skincare on hand because that's part of what we're going to be sharing that night. So if you don't have the skincare, or if you're thinking, well, I don't want mine to run out, then now's a great time at this incredible special to pick up additional skincare so that when these events are ready for you to run with, you can explode your business by not only, we believe, scheduling 100% success rate events. That's our goal. And we're going to teach you how to do that, but also booking additional events out of there, because community is what we're about. Love is in the center of everything we do. And we really believe that people are in a place now that they want to get back in the homes. They want people, they want to gather, they want to do something that's meaningful and fun at the same time. And we're going to have the solution. So you guys are incredible. Thank you for being on tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, great news. The replays for all of our Zooms are now available on the app. Bill is catching up with the ones that hadn't been able to be loaded, but these Monday nights should be up there. Saturdays is up there, and then tonight's will probably be up there. Look usually at about 12 to 24 hours after the Zoom, they will be loaded up on the app. So thank you guys again so much. Have a great night. Get into action that makes a difference and do that daily, and you'll find a rhythm that works for you. Okay, love you guys so much. Have a great night.